Hey team, we're back at North Auckland Harley Davidson for another motorcycle review, and today we are checking out the all-new StreetGlide, which is a fancy bit of kit. I'm also going to be comparing this to the Roadglide, and I think a lot of you will know that I'm a big fan of the Roadglide, and that's a bike that I aspire to own. But there's always the age-old conversation between StreetGlide and Roadglide, so I thought I'd try it out for myself. All new, this is a fancy pants dash. I've actually been here for a minute, and we've just set this up to sort of show off what it can do with the GPS and whatnot. This bike has been tuned to stage 1, which you could argue is not a factory review. However, anybody that's ever bought a Harley Davidson knows that your minimum stage 1, probably stage 2. I tell you what, straight away, these low bars, I'm not uncomfortable at all, very comfortable, but I do feel like I'm more on this bike than in it, if that makes sense, which is, you know, that's a feeling. One of the big things that I was thinking about with this and the new Roadglide is these big dashes, because I've got the ability to put my phone up with my gauges, which I do kind of when I need to, and I didn't think I'd like it because I thought it was going to be too much, and I'm already not thinking that. Like, this is not too much. It's actually really nice. It's really easy to see during the day, and it's not overwhelming. I thought it might take away from the experience. I gotta say, initially, given that it is slightly less horsepower than my bike, but initially it doesn't feel brutal, and I guess that's one thing that I do like about my bike, is it does feel very visceral. This feels very refined. And I guess that depends on, I mean, you can change that if you want. You can go put a bunch more power and things like that, and then it'll feel, I'm sure, an absolute animal, if that's what you want. But if you don't want that, it's actually really chill. And I guess this is kind of what this bike's for, right? Kind of country roads, having a cruise. I tell you what, one word that I would definitely say that I feel on this bike is relaxed. Between how refined it feels and the ergonomics being very couchish, I'm very relaxed. And if you know me, you know that I like to relax. Once this bike's up and running, it is not difficult to ride at all. I know some people get put off by the larger touring frames because they're bigger, heavier bikes, and you do not notice it when you're cruising along like this. You notice it when you need to move it around at very, very low speed. The ride's not bad. I know for a fact that this road is pretty awful, as are most New Zealand roads, so it's probably a good road to test it on. Actually, I'm not getting thrown around and it's not super stiff like my bike, but you definitely notice that it's not a good road. It's not quite able to mask that for us. How good, how good. Blue sky, nice new Harley Davidson. Who can complain? Well, I can. The only thing that I've noticed so far about this bike that I think could be improved upon, or perhaps would be a consideration if you're thinking about buying one, is the audio. It's cool when you're sitting at the lights, but you can't hear it when you're doing 80 kilometers an hour, even when it's cranked. I know that on the more premium bikes that friends have, that I can hear their music through my helmet when I'm on my bike and they're in front of me, so I think there's definitely some room for improvement there. But like, literally, that's the only thing I've found so far that I can fault on this. I am absolutely surprised how much I'm enjoying this, and the reason I say that is because I mentioned it before, I love a Roadglide, always have. The last generation is my favorite, and the new generation, obviously I haven't ridden yet, we're about to, but I'll tell you what, that's going to have to be a hell of a bike to be able to say that I would have that over this, for a bunch of reasons. I'm just so comfortable, I'm so relaxed. It's so easy to ride too. One of the things that I was, I guess, cognizant of before I took this out was like, okay, it's the bigger frame, it's going to be a heavier bike to move, but like this thing is just so maneuverable for a big bike. Low speed's different story, but like cruising along like this, or even cruising along the motorway to get to where we are, it's effortless. And I'm super comfy. As I said, I got my hands feeling like they're sort of down near my knees. Now you just sit in your chair, put your hands on your knees. How comfortable is that? That's all I'm doing. I'm just rolling along, sitting in a comfy chair. That's what we want, the open road. Shoulders are relaxed, my back's comfortable, my legs are relaxed. There's nothing about this that I'm not enjoying. What I don't know, and I don't want to find out, is how far you lean it until it starts scraping. If you follow our social media, particularly Instagram, you'll know that I paid $20 for replacement bolts each, so that's 40 New Zealand dollars. Now look, I have to be honest with you guys, I was not expecting to like this bike this much, and that says nothing about the bike, it's purely that I've always been a big fan of the Roadglide. I gotta say that Roadglide is gonna have to live up to expectations, because this is pretty damn good. Whenever we do these reviews, we always try and balance it out, right? So we find 3 things we like, 3 things we don't, and then come up with a conclusion, and then that's basically how we do our reviews, right? It's not hard. I'm struggling to find 3 things I don't like about this bike. One of the things, if you look at my hand, this is how I have my hand. It's known as GP grip. I don't know why I do it. I always have. I did grow up on sports bikes. Maybe it came from that. But what it makes it is very hard to get all the buttons. If you ride normally how most people ride, you can get all the buttons. But I don't. I like to ride like this. It's just more comfortable for me. And I find like I've got a little bit more control on the throttle. Oh, that was the other thing I wasn't super thrilled on, was the quality of the stereo. It is the entry-level one. The CVO and the limiters have better sound systems, and you can always go and upgrade it, stuff like that. I love the idea of it, and this works fine. It just, you don't really hear it when you're doing 100 out on the open road or on the motorway. But like if I was to turn it up now, I was singing along before, it was great with listening to some She-Hard. So it's, I tell you what, I've always looked at these and thought they were super cool. I've always liked them, but I've always liked the Roadglide more. I need to get on this Roadglide because this is going to be hard to beat. The other thing, this is the thing about preconception, right? I didn't think I was going to like this dash at all. I thought it was going to be annoying, and I thought it was going to be all sorts of different things. I really like it, and I didn't think I would. I think that this drawer thing is quite funny. Like you put your phone and whatever else in there. That's kind of funny. That's Mike's favourite feature too on this. I get it. It's cool. I don't know how often I'd actually use it, but you know. Like realistically, you need about, like, ladies, if you're listening, your man needs about 8. Okay? One of them is a Harley that is good for thrashing, which is why I have my Roadglide. And another one is a Harley for touring, which is what this would be. And I gotta tell you, given how comfortable and refined and relaxed I feel after riding this, and it's just effortless, there's nothing that it is very, very hard to fault. Very hard to fault indeed. You can, you've got your bigger bags on this one as well. You can throw a wet bag on there, or a tour pack, or whatever you fancy. Throw a woman on the back if you're lucky. Or if you're really lucky, she's got her own. But man, this is so damn cool. But I tell you what, man, I'm calling this dad spec or retirement spec or something like that. Like, it's going to get a name for the sort of lower bars and the more upright back. And my word, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm going to be a great old person as it is, and I'm looking forward to this. The only real difference between this and the StreetGlide, because it's same frame, same engine, yada yada yada, it's obviously the fairing is different, and that's the big point of contention between the two models. And the bars on this are higher, which are more to what I'm used to, and this one's running an S&S exhaust system, and the other one had a Davidson Hines. My bike's got a, oh, there's my bike there. My bike's got an S&S, and I really like it. Oh, this feels bigger already. It's just the bars, and I think the bigger fairing. Oh, I already like this so much. I don't like the chrome blasting me in the eyeballs. This is my bike now. Sorry, Mike, I'm not giving it back. This S&S exhaust is way better. It's amazing how much difference this fairing makes as to the size of how the bike feels, because it's the same frame other than the bars being higher. I did like the dad spec bars, but like these higher bars feels much more natural to me because I like having my arms up a bit. But the big dash being bigger and further away makes the whole cabin feel bigger, and I can tell even at not even 100 kilometers an hour that my little wind bubble that I'm creating for myself is also much bigger, which again, on a touring bike, do I want that? 100% I want that. I want that all the time. So when I took the StreetGlide back to the Harley dealership, Mike gave me the look, you know, what do you think, what do you think? And he knows that I've always liked the Roadglide. He's been trying to find me one. And I looked at him and I just said, that Roadglide is going to have to be fucking good for it to be better than the StreetGlide. And he just looked at me and he grinned and he just said, it is. And he's not lying. This bike literally feels like it was made for me. Like, the geometry is great. For the record, I'm 6'2" and 235 pounds ish, which in the Queen's English is 189 centimeters and 110 kilos. Lean, thank you very much. And I'm just finding like this, the geometry on this is like, it's not like my bike. It's actually, I wouldn't say better, but it is just spot on. Like, and I love this big fairing. I always liked the StreetGlides, but I always loved the Roadglide for the look of the fairing and what the fairing was going to represent. And it has absolutely lived up to its expectations. That being said, I don't think I would get this model. I would go up the spec and get, maybe not the CVO, but possibly the Limited, and get the better sound system. I wouldn't go chrome. I don't have anything against chrome, it's just not my cup of tea. And I don't actually think I would buy a black one. Now, as much as I think, you know, all Harleys should be black, much like all Ferraris should be red, I actually feel like a bit of colour. Like the Fast Johnny Roadglides, that was one of the ones that really caught my eye as something different. But there was also some other similar colourways that they did a couple of years ago. Yeah. I'm not trying to sell you this bike, I'm trying to justify it to myself because man, this thing is awesome. What can I even say? Like, let me give you some stuff. So it's the 117, it doesn't have the variable valve timing. The bigger engines do that in the higher spec, so I can't speak to how that rides because I don't know. The engine mapping in this is really nice. I was talking to my buddy Chase, who's a mechanic there. He was saying that there's some new stuff that they're doing with some of the porting and stuff, which is making flow better, because effectively they're still the same blocks and heads. What else? The fairing, I love it. Oh, I thought that the dash was harder to see earlier because of just where it is, and it turns out somebody just turned the brightness all the way down, and I can see it now, which is nice. What else? Oh, there's lots of little things I haven't tried. Oh, that works. Okay, so that on a hot day will blow air at you, and then that'll make a little bubble a little bit bigger. But yeah, it's geometry, perfect. Floorboards, love it. Seats pretty good. But just the feeling of being on a bike that just feels bigger. Like, don't get me wrong, I love sports bikes. I had a lot of them. Okay, journalism time. The instrument gauge cluster is pretty much the same. It's got modes, sport, road, and wet, and then there's a user generated one that you can customize. The dash can have a few different options depending on what you want at the time. I'm enjoying this one, but if I was using the sat nav as an actual GPS, there's a mode where you can put all your gauges way over the side. Actually, I learned how to do that before, and the system is pretty easy. Display, layout, cruise, sport, tour. And we put tour, it's banged everything over the side there. I've got all the same information, but now when I back out to the sat nav, now my sat nav is much bigger. And this is my favorite sign and the title of our show, The Open Road. Say is interesting about this is even in the sport modes and stuff, what one thing that this bike doesn't do, which makes complete and total sense, is it doesn't make you want to hoon it. Like, I've been known amongst my friends to be one of the more spirited riders amongst the group, and that's fine, someone has to be, but this doesn't necessarily encourage that. It doesn't discourage it, but it's not like my bike where it's like go, go, go all the time. This, I'm doing the speed limit in top gear at low revs, and I'm happy as Larry. I can go around bends quick if I want to. I would say this is actually more capable than I had initially anticipated. And I wouldn't say that I've pushed it hard at all because it's not mine, but it's definitely exceeding expectations, which was pretty much the only thing it needed to do to be better than the StreetGlide for me. I don't even know what to say. I messaged Mike at the Harley dealership and I said, I'm just going to come back and get my garage door clicker and I am keeping this Roadglide. And he sent me a laughing react, which is making me think he doesn't believe me. I cannot fault this thing. Like, it's so good. I'm already going through all the accessories I'm going to buy for it. One of which, see, this is one of the cool things, is that I would actually get one of those cup holders, so that, and with my modular helmet, be able to just have a nice frosty beverage whilst riding along. And the bags are cool. I love the bags. They're nice big hard bags. And then I would just get like a little sissy bar and then throw like my wet weather bag on top of the back seat. Even the seat's good. Like, I wouldn't necessarily rush out and change the saddle either. It's got enough of a step up at the back that when you get on it you feel sort of snugged in, and it's super comfortable, and the pillion's super comfortable, and it already comes with the pillion pegs. And it's not often that I throw anyone on the back, but on the occasion that you do, why not? This bike feels like some irresponsible financial decisions are about to be made. The real question was, which I wanted to know at the start of this video, as I sort of alluded to, was what is the real, which one's better, the Roadglide or the StreetGlide? The reality is they are so incredibly similar. The minor differences that they have are personal preference. And for example, if you like the dad spec low bars, which I did, you just put lower bars on this. Or vice versa, if you wanted higher bars on the StreetGlide, then change the bars out. Realistically, it's just down to the fairing. Which one do you like the style of? Which one do you like the functionality of? Personally, I prefer this fairing, the nice big fairing. It creates a much bigger bubble, and I just like the way that it feels. I like the cockpit feel and all the rest of it. Like I said, the only thing I would really do to a bike like this is drink holder and put my little quad lock down there. Other than that, there's not really much that I need to do to this to make it awesome, because it's already amazing. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you'd like to see more of it, by all means get subscribed. We're going to do a lot more of this sort of thing. Yeah, I don't think I settled any debates whether the StreetGlide versus Roadglide argument, which is going to be never ending, and at the end of the day, my 2 cents on that is it's personal preference, and my personal preference is the Roadglide, which is not a surprise to me before or after, but it was questioned during. Another cool thing that we're doing at the moment, which you should absolutely check out if you've enjoyed this video and you've made it this far, is we're actually giving away a motorcycle. We're giving away a Yamaha XJR 1200, which is being resto modded by Hungry Wolf Motorcycles of Rotorua, which is our very own Calvin. You can see his hunting and fishing content on this very channel. Basically, the whole idea behind that is we want to share the love and joy of motorcycling with as many people as we can, because we think it's the best and it's the bee's knees. Not only that, is it's a mental health initiative, because we lose far too many people to themselves, and as some of you may well know, I was very nearly one of them. So we want to use the motorcycling world, if you will, from the riding to the community and all that good stuff, to just spread the word and let everyone know how great bikes are, and maybe you'll make some friends, and those friends will help you stay out of dark places.